So we'll just start with the vocabulary at the beginning of the booklet. So in number 1, tritos means third, ordinal number. Number 2, sophos is wise. Number 3, a theos is a god. Number 4, ara just makes the sentence a question when it appears at the beginning. Number 5, alla means but. Number 6, a doulos is a slave. Number 7, ago means I lead, and notice it has that strong aorist ergagon. Number 8, ek or x before a vowel means out of, right, and it takes genitive. Su, number 9, su is you singular, like tu in Latin. Number 10, time is honor. Number 11, parascuasdo is I prepare, and it has that weak aorist parescuasa. Number 12, pistuo is I trust, and it has that weak aorist epistusa, and it takes dative. Number 13, hepta is the number 7. Number 14, keluo, I order. Number 14, polemioi, that's the enemy. Just like hostes in Latin, it's a plural noun, but you can translate it as singular in English. In number 16, a sumakos is an ally. Number 17, ethelo is I wish or want or desire. Number 18, u means not. And notice that if it comes before a vowel with a smooth breathing, it's uk with a kappa. If it comes before a vowel with a rough breathing, it's uk with a chi. Number 19, angelo, I announce, as angels do, that word angel comes from angelo, and it has the weak aorist engela. Number 20, a polites is a citizen, hence politics and so forth. Number 21, Zeus is the god Zeus, and just notice the irregular genitive form dios there. Meno, number 22, is I remain or wait or stay, just like maneo in Latin, and the weak aorist emena. Number 23, duo is the number 2, hence words like duo and duel and all that sort of thing in English. In number 24, a Nersos is an island. Remember, hair Nersos, feminine, looks very similar to nosos, which is a disease. So Nersos is an island, nosos is a disease. And then lastly, an angelos is a messenger, so that's connected to the verb angelo that we saw in number 19. Okay, and then there are some endings here. This is the imperfect passive, right? And so what you do is, because it's a past tense, you start with the augment, the epsilon at the beginning. Then you add the stem, which in this case is pau, P-A-U, from pauo, I stop. And so you'll need that for all of the endings. And then you add the imperfect passive endings. So omen, u, eto, eto, there we go. And then ometha, esther, and onto. So what we're then meeting in this lesson, and this is beginning on page 2 here, is relative clauses. These are, as you can see here, parts of a sentence, right? They are parts of an English sentence that you can have. So here are some examples, okay? The slave who was running away fell into the river. Who are the strangers whom the soldiers are guarding? The girl whose book I have is not listening, and the old man for whom I provided dinner is very wise. And I've just annotated these sentences a bit so that you can see how the grammar works in English. So you have, sorry, that's a typo there, antecedent, there you go. So you've got the antecedent, which is the noun in italics, the noun about whom the relative clause supplies extra information. You've got the relative pronoun, which is underlined in these sentences. That is the word which links the rest of the relative clause to the antecedent, the noun. Then you've got the relative clause, which is in bold. That's the part of the sentence which is supplying extra information about the antecedent. And then the main clause is the rest of the sentence that you would have and which would make sense on its own if you removed the relative clause. So the main clauses for these sentences would be the slave fell into the river, who are the strangers, the girl is not listening, and the old man is very wise. Those would be the main clauses. Now, this first sentence you could translate into Greek using a participle. So the slave who was running away would be rephrased as the slave, the one running away. So hodoulos ho theogon with a present participle there. And similarly, sentence B could be translated into Greek with a participle, but you'd have to change from active to passive. So who are the strangers whom the soldiers are guarding? You'd have to change whom the soldiers are guarding to the ones being guarded by the soldiers. So hoi hupoton stratioton fulas somenoi. And these sentences you can also translate into Greek using a relative clause. In other words, you can use a grammar which is more similar to what we would do in English. And in fact, sentences C and D can only be translated that way. Yes, sentence C, you really couldn't you couldn't do that with a participle. You'd have to say something like, the girl, the one lacking a book because I have it, or something like that. So it wouldn't work. You need to use a relative clause just like in English. And to do it, you use the Greek relative pronoun, which is hos, hair, ho. There it is, which is like qui, quae, quod in Latin. More or less, it's the same as the definite article, but wherever you have a letter T or tau in the definite article, you just get a rough breathing instead. So there's the table. So instead of ho, hair, tot, you have hos, hair, ho. And then for the accusative, instead of ton, ten, to, you have hon, hen, ho, and so forth. One part just to be a bit careful about is hone in the genitive plural, because hone with a rough breathing is different from own with a smooth breathing, right? Hone with a rough breathing means whose, like of whom, genitive plural, whereas whereas own with a smooth breathing means being, because it's the present participle from Amy, from the verb to be. Okay, so here are some examples, right? The slave who was running away, hodoulos hos theogen. So you just have the relative pronoun and then the verb running away in the imperfect tense. And it's nominative, hos is nominative there because it's the subject of that verb. In B, right, the strangers whom the soldiers are guarding, whom is translated whos. It's masculine plural because it's agreeing with the strangers, but unlike hoi xenoi, it is accusative because it's the object of that verb guarding, foulasusin. In C, the girl whose book I have, whose is translated hes. It has to be feminine singular, agreeing with the girl, but unlike her kore, the girl, hes is genitive, right? Because it is the book of her, right? In the same way that in English, whose is also a genitive form. In D, the old man for whom here, this bit here is translated in Greek as ho with the iota subscript, right? And again, it is sorry, here I should have written it is masculine singular for whom, because it's agreeing with the old man, the geron, but it's also dative because I've provided the dinner for him. It's provided to him, ho. Okay, now there's also some more vocabulary being introduced here. Okay, because we've got some more second declension masculine nouns which all go like logos. So you've got aikmalotos, a prisoner of war, like a captive. Barbaroi are barbarians or foreigners. in general, it just means anyone who doesn't speak Greek. And the word originates because the Greeks thought that all other languages that weren't Greek just sounded like bar, 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 so that's why it's barbaroi. And enoikos is an inhabitant. Literally, it means someone in the house. En oikos, like en and oikia. So it's someone in the house, it's an inhabitant. It's like an incola in Latin. And then an iatros is a doctor. That's why you have words like psychiatrist, pediatrician, podiatrist, all that kind of thing in English. Then sitos is food. And a huios is a son. And then krusos is gold. Okay. And then we have some first declension feminine nouns which go like time. So a kephaler is a head. And that's why there are medical terms like encephalopathy and so forth, which are to do with your head. You've also got this word siger, which means silence. And sometimes you have the dative singular, siger, with an iota subscript, and that's used as an adverb to mean silently or in silence. And then a huler is a wood or a forest. And then we've also got some more verbs. Anankasdo, they all have weak aorists, by the way. Anankasdo, I force or compel. Weak aorist enankasa. Diaphthero, weak aorist diaphthera, is I destroy or corrupt. Kathizdo, weak aorist ekathisa, is I sit. Kolasdo, weak aorist ekolasa, is I punish. Krupto, weak aorist ekrupsa, is I hide. And that's where you get words like crypt and cryptic from in English. Prasso, weak aorist epraxa, is I do or I fare well or badly, right? How you, in the sense, how are you doing? I'm doing well. You'd use the verb prasso for that in Greek. And lastly, sosdo, weak aorist esosa, is I save. Okay, so let's just practice some sentences here. So, Greek to English, hodoulos, the slave, ekrupse, weak aorist from crypto, hid, ton kruson, the gold, enter hule, in the wood or in the forest. Number 2, hoi aikmalotoi, this is the prisoners or prisoners of war. Barbaroi ontes. Now, ontes is the present participle from the verb to be. And it's masculine nominative plural, agreeing with hoi aikmalotoi. So literally being barbarians. Pantes ekathisdon, that means were all sitting. Ekathisdon is imperfect tense. If it was aorist, it would be eka, well, you can see here, it's ekathisa, so it would be ekathisan. Were all sitting, sige, in silence or silently. And you could translate ontes here as since they were barbarians, or even though they were barbarians, or various things like that. Number 3, arahopais. Okay. So, and the main verb going with hopais is esti. So, is the boy, or the child, ara makes it a question, is the boy, and then we have hon, which is the accusative of the relative pronoun. So, whom, ekolasamen, we punished, weak aorist, is the boy whom we punished, a huios, a son, tu iatru, of the doctor. Okay, now number 4 begins with a genitive sandwich. Hair tu gigantos kephale, the giant's head. En means was, imperfect tense. Hupse lotera. Now this is a comparative adjective from hupselos, which means higher. So, well, hupselos means high, and so the comparative is higher. And then here means than, higher than, ekenotodendron. Okay, ekenos means that. Here it's in the neuter, agreeing with the dendron. And todendron is a tree. So was higher than that tree. Okay. Then in number 5, pu means where. So where. And then heures, this is the aorist from heurisco. So where, and it's second person singular, so where did you find? You singular, fine. Ton lithon, a lithos is a stone, like a monolith in English, the stone. Now ho here is dative, so it means with which. This is a dative of instrument. The stone with which, diaphteiras, with which you destroyed, weak aorist from diaphteiro, ten iskuran pulen, the strong gate. Okay, iskuros means strong, pule is a gate. Okay, and then number 6, hositos. Okay, that's the food. Now, hon is the relative pronoun, meaning which, and because it's accusative, we know it's the object. So it's not the food which was very tasty, it's going to be the food which someone did something to, right? It's going to be the object. So the food which, ephagete. Now this is the strong aorist from esthio, to eat. The strong aorist is ephagon. So the food which you plural ate, en ekenete oikia, that means in that house, right? Ekenos means that, and oikia is a house. En kakos was bad. And then number 7, okay, tous. Now tous is accusative, so we know straight away that that's the object. So we need to look, is there a subject? Is there a nominative noun? Well, there isn't, so we have to find the subject within the verb, and it's esosamen, so that means we saved. Weak aorist from sosdo, to save. So we saved. Then tous is going with prasontas. Okay, so literally means the ones doing, the people doing. And they're doing kakos badly. So perhaps in this sense it means faring badly. So the ones faring badly, or you could say the people who were faring badly. Eke, there. And then telos means finally or at last. So you might want to put that earlier. So we finally saved the ones faring badly there. The ones who were doing badly there. That's a very difficult sentence, number 7. Now, number 8, hutos estin. Hutos just means this, or if it's on its own, this man or he. So you could say something like he is, or this man is, hoiatros, the doctor. Now, who means, it's the relative pronoun, but it's genitive. So it means of whom, or whose, in English. Whose logoi, words, are asin, are always, right? I means always, asin means they are, and pistoi means trustworthy, or reliable. And then number 9, anankasdomai. Okay, now anankasdo is I force or compel someone to do something. Anankasdomai is the present passive. So instead of I force, it's I am being forced. Kolasdain, to punish. Ton, tauta praxanta. Okay, so ton is agreeing with praxanta. It literally means the man having done. So you could say the man who did tauta these things, right? Neuter, plural. Okay, and then in number 10, ara makes it a question. And, okay, so you've got the island, okay, he nesos, which is nominative, so it's the subject. So, the island, hen is agreeing with the island, but it's accusative, so the island which eidomen we saw. And the main verb, which has nesos as its subject, is eke. So does the island have enoikous, inhabitants? So if you put it all together, does the island, hen eidomen, which we saw, have inhabitants? Okay, and then we have a bit of English to Greek as well. Okay, the prisoners who are in the prison. Okay, so prisoners, right, are aikmalotoi. So hoi aikmalotoi. Who are, so hoi, right, because hoi here, right, this is the relative pronoun, hoi, right, who are hoi asin in the prison. Okay, n plus dative. Now a prison is to desmoterion, but we want the dative of that, to desmoterio, right, are AC. Now, very strong, okay. Now, iskuros means strong. If we want very strong, we need the superlative. So, look at the stem, iskuros. Now, the U here is long, and that means the O here is going to be short before the superlative ending, which is tatos, iskurotatos. And now we need to make it plural to agree with the prisoners, so we get iskurotatoi. Okay, now number 2, did you see? Did you see? Okay, so here we need ara, because it's a question. Okay, then you saw is aides. So aidon is I saw, and then aides is you saw. The doctor, ton iatron. Who, that's hos, who, and it's nominative because it's now the subject of the sending, who sent pempse, weak aorist from pempo. The letter is an epistole, but we need the accusative ten epistolen. And then at the end there we need the Greek question mark. Okay, then the slave whom you sent. Okay, the slave hodulos. Whom is hon, accusative, masculine, singular, right? Masculine singular to agree with the slave, accusative because it's now the object. So whom you sent, hon pempsas, is very stupid. So esti is, now the word for stupid is moros. Look at the stem, that vowel is long, so therefore the O is going to be short. And then morotatos for the superlative. And then in number 4, the giant, ho gigas, who, hos, nominative because the giant is still the subject of the eating, who eats. Okay, so estheo is I eat. So esthea, present tense, estheo, esthea, so esthea, who eats men, anthropous, is not, uk estin, and I've put the N on the end because the next word will begin with a vowel, in the field, N plus dative, N. Now, we need here the word for a field. Okay, we need the word for a field. And here we can use various words. For instance, we can use agros. Okay, so N to agro, and then now is nun. Okay, so then in number 5 we have the stones. Okay, now a stone is holithos, so here we want hoilithoi, which were being thrown. Okay, so which is hoi again. Now, were being thrown. Okay, to throw is ballo, but we want the imperfect passive. So we add the augment, then the stem, and then the imperfect passive ending. Omen u eto, ometha este onto. So eballonto. By the boys, hupo is by, and it's with genitive. So the boys, hoi paides would be the boys in the nominative, but we want the genitive, tone paidon. Were very big. Okay, were. So ersan, they were, imperfect tense from to be. And then very big. Okay, so megistos means very big. It's an irregular superlative form, but we want megistoi to agree with the stones. And then finally, we'll just look quickly at this vocabulary. So pros ago, I lead someone towards something. Pothen means from where. Un means therefore. Alphys is again. O is just O. Probably followed by a vocative noun in direct speech, that's likely. Pempo, I send. A necros is a corpse or a dead body. Blapto, I harm or injure or damage. Palai is sort of long ago or formerly. Hekastos is each or every. Oinos is wine. Kalistos is very beautiful, very fine. Grapho, I write. Stratiotes is a soldier. Lego is I say. And note that it has two possible aorists, a weak aorist Alexa or a strong aorist apon, which is very, very common, so bear that one in mind. Also, if you also study Latin, remember that lego in Latin is to read, whereas lego in Greek is to say or speak. Powo is I stop. Deca is the number 10. De means and or but. Tasso is I draw up or arrange, especially used of soldiers in a military context. Ex ago is I lead someone out of somewhere. Thaumasdo is I admire or wonder at or am amazed at. A dendron is a tree. Athenaios means Athenian. And athlon is a prize, right? Because that's what athletes compete for. And then manthano is I learn. Okay.